We welcome you all for today's biology class. You might have seen the banana plants. Under the banana plants, there are so many small young plantlets, young banana plants are arising at the base. So this is a simple example of reproduction. Every organism that produces their young ones. This process is called reproduction. So reproduction is the biological process. Reproduction is the biological process of producing young ones or progeny. Yes. So the reproduction enables the continuity of species. That means it sustains the species generation to generation. So the reproduction is a very essential process in living organism. So there are two types of reproduction. Sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction in all living organisms. Yes. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction means the producing young ones by the single parent. See, asexual reproduction is a form of reproduction in which an organism gives rise to genetical identical individuals. The young ones will be similar. And they are identical. Similar or identical to their parents. Now the types of asexual reproduction. You can see number one, fission. Fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, spore formation. So these five are different modes of asexual reproduction in organisms. So first one is the fission. Fission is more common in unicellular organisms like amoeba. Okay, and if a body splits into two, then it is called binary fission. And if a body is dividing into many, it is called multiple fission. Binary fission, a form of asexual reproduction by the body splits into two bodies. Example, amoeba. You can see that picture. The nucleus that it divides into two. It elongates, two organisms are formed. So a body, single body divides and forms two cells. Single form divides two cells. So multiple fission is also a type of fission in which a single cell splits into many daughter cells. The plasmodium that causes malaria, it is reproduced by this mode of reproduction. That is multiple fission. This is multiple fission. Then the next one is the fragment. Fragment means pieces. The body, the mature organism, breaks into small pieces. And each piece or fragment develops into a new organism. This is called fragmentation, and example spirogyra is one kind of algae, and it performs a sexual reproduction by fragmentation. Next type, the regeneration. Regeneration means it is also a kind of asexual reproduction. Here, the last part, say from in case of wall lizard, if the tail is cut off, the tail can be formed. But in some organisms like planaria, if you cut into many pieces, each piece will be generated into new organism. That means if you cut the planaria into 100 pieces, each piece will be developed into one organism. That is regeneration, reformation of the organism. Vegetative propagation, it is common in plants. The plant, the reproductive part is the flower, and in other parts, other vegetative parts from which the new plantlet arises, then it is known as vegetative propagation. Example, bryophyllum you can see here is this is the bryophyllum. This is the bryophyllum. From these notches, from the leaf margins, new plantlet arises. So here the vegetative part leaf, from the leaf new plantlet arises, and this mode of vegetative reproduction or propagation is very common in case of bryophyllum. In case of bryophyllum. Vegetative parts like stem, leaf, grows. Yes. The vegetative propagation is also can be done by cutting. Can be done by cutting. That is artificial vegetative propagation by cutting and grafting. Cutting means, say, for example, banana stem, one small piece cut and you can put in the soil and it will grow when it gets the moisture. Further, that jasmine also can be propagated by the mode of layering. Just a part of the jasmine is buried under the soil and it will grow into the new plant. Okay. Yes. So this is the cuttings and the grafting is very commonly it is practiced in agriculture. So in fungi, especially the rhizomes, that is a bread mold. If you keep a piece of bread for some days, small molds will grow, and the rhizomes grows, and it produces spores, and the spores grow into new organisms. See here, this is the rhizomes, and it is sporangium. Sporangium contains spores. And when the sporangium breaks, spores are released. When sporangium breaks, spores are released, and these spores grow into new rhizomes. Okay? So this is a spore containing sac, sporangium. When it matures, it ruptures, it breaks, and releases the spores. Spores grow into new organisms. That is a new rhizome. New rhizome. Yes. Then next is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Sexual reproduction. So here sexual reproduction is performed by the flower. Okay. Sexual reproduction by the flower. Yes. Before going into the reproduction, we must know the parts of the flower. A flower, especially I have taken a China rose flower. Okay. It has the first part in a flower, that is this one, sepal, and it is a calyx. Sepal and sepal combined, it forms calyx. Then petals are there, petals. These are petals. Yes, the petals together it is called corolla. The petals together collectively called corolla. Okay. And this male reproductive organs are collectively called androecium, and each one is called stamens. You can see this one. You can take on China flower and you can observe. These are stamens, and stamen consists of filament and yes. This is the male reproductive organ is stamen, and you can see this one. After removing the stamen, you will find that this is a stigma. Here is a stigma. Okay, here is a stigma, and there is a style. This is a style, and the style ends in ovary. So, ovary, style, stigma. This is a female reproductive organ in a plant. This is a female reproductive organ in a plant. Yes. Then pollination takes place. Pollination means transfer of pollens in stigma. This is the stigma. This is the stigma. In the here pollens will fall. This is the stigma. In the stigma, these pollens will fall. The transfer of pollens to the stigma is called pollination. And it is have two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. If the pollination takes place within a flower, the same pollen falls within that stigma of the flower, then it is called self-pollination. Cross-pollination is by some agents like water, wind, insects. From what it is in a different flowers of the same species. Okay. The pollens are carried by, say for example, by a butterfly, and it drops the pollen in another flower. This is a cross-pollination. Yes. Yes, this is what I have just shown you, that the flower parts, this is the stigma, this is the style, this is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the anther. Yes, this is the anther, this is the petal, this is the pistil. Okay. See, this is the petal, this is the sepal plus sepal calyx, and this is the petal, and the petal last it forms the corolla. Yes, and male reproductive organisms and the filament collectively stem. See this yellow part. Okay. Yes, and female reproductive organ stigma, style, and ovary. This part is the ovary. So these three parts are female reproductive system. So this is also a bisexual flower. If a flower if it is having both male and female reproductive organ, then the flower is said to be called bisexual flower. Now once the pollination is over, the pollen reaches. Once the pollination is over, okay. Once the pollination is over, see, this is the female reproductive organ, that is the pistil. Okay. And here pollen forms, and the pollen, this is the pollen. Here this is the stigma. Okay. And this pollen develops a tube, like this. Small tube, this way. This is called the pollen tube. This is pollen tube. Here there is a structure inside the ovary, roughly. It is called the embryo sac. So here, the pollen produces two male gametes. The pollen contains two male gametes. So along with this pollen tube, one male gamete is dropped here, and here egg will be there, and here the polar nuclei. So egg cell plus male gamete combines and it forms zygote. And another male gamete from the pollen tube, it combines with this polar nuclei and it forms endosperm. So here, since there are fertilization occurs twice. The fertilization occurs twice. It is called double fertilization. See, pollen tube grows along the style and reaches the embryo sac. See, pollen tube grows along this style and reaches the embryo sac. One male gamete of pollen fishes with the egg cell. One pollen of male gamete fishes with the egg cell and it forms zygote. Other male gamete fishes with the polar nuclei. Polar nuclei here, along with the polar nuclei, it combines and it forms endosperm. Okay, so the embryo, the growth of the zygote results in the embryo. Zygote gives rise to embryo. and endosperm provides nourishment. That means it provides food to the growing embryo, and the seed becomes ovum. And fruit is that fruit wall that is ultimately coming from the ovary. So this is the sexual reproduction in case of the plants. And you can do this activity. You can just take some rose plant stem and you can just plant in the soil. If you get moist, it will grow. So you can directly observe the sexual reproduction as well as bryophyllum you can observe. In this picture very well. This is stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. Okay, this is the reproductive part of the female reproductive part of the flower. Yes. Now the pollen falls here. Pollen falls from the stigma. On falling, it develops a pollen tube. It develops a pollen tube. Pollen tube, you see, it is growing along the style. It is growing along the style and reaches the embryo sac through micropyle. And it drops one male nucleus to the one male nucleus to the egg cell here. One egg cell to the nucleus. And then one egg cell to the egg cell. One male gamete combines with the egg cell and it forms zygote. Okay, it forms zygote. And another male gamete combines with the polar nuclei, and it forms endosperm. Two polar nuclei plus this thing is 3N. It is a endosperm. So triploid endosperm is formed. In future, endosperm will be developing into endosperm will be providing nourishment to the embryo, and the embryo is developed from the zygote. Ovules become seed and ovary becomes a fruit wall. Okay. Yes. So you can practically observe asexual reproduction by observing bryophyllum and roses, jasmine, etc. Okay, in your garden, you can just observe how your bryophyllum is developing new young one, and this jasmine, the stem of the jasmine, you can just layer it, and a piece of sugarcane or rose plant, you can just, if you put the berry into the soil, it will develop into the new plant. So practically you can see. Thank you all for this class, for attending this class. Thank you for that.
Flowering plants undergo a unique reproductive process where there are two fertilization events. This double fertilization event occurs between the male reproductive organ, the male gametophyte, and the female reproductive organ, the female gametophyte. Before the fertilization event can occur, the ovule has to undergo some changes. At present, the ovule contains one reproductive cell, known as the megaspore or mother cell. This cell is diploid and undergoes meiosis, producing 4 haploid megaspores. In the majority of species, 3 of these megaspores degenerate, leaving only 1 surviving megaspore. This surviving megaspore expands and undergoes 3 rounds of mitosis to produce 8 haploid nuclei. As the nuclei have not developed any individual division, they initially share the same cytoplasm. This complete structure is known as the embryo sac. Within the established embryo sac, cell walls begin to form between most of the nuclei. 3 cells named antipodal cells form opposite the opening of the ovule, known as the micropyle. Another 3 cells form above the micropyle. Two of these are synergids, and the other is the egg cell. This leaves two nuclei in the center of the ovule. These central nuclei remain together in one large cell. It is the egg cell and this central nucleate cell which will eventually become part of the double fertilization event. In order for the double fertilization event to occur, the male gamete, the sperm, must travel from the anther to the embryo sac within the female reproductive organ. The pollen grain contains two main cells. A cell named the tube cell makes up the bulk of the pollen grain, and the sperm cell, which at this stage is known as the generative cell. To reach the embryo sac, a pollen grain must land on the stigma. Once landed, it begins to germinate. The tube cell forms a long structure down the style and into the ovary. The generative cell travels behind the tube cell nucleus. Once near the ovary, it divides by mitosis to produce two haploid sperm cells. The pollen tube reaches the micropyle and releases the sperm cells into the embryo sac. One of the two sperm cells fertilizes the egg cell. This produces a diploid zygote, which will become the embryo. The other sperm cell moves up and fuses with both of the central nuclei, forming a triploid cell. This unusual triploid cell develops into an endosperm and serves as the embryo's food supply during early development. It is only angiosperms, flowering plants, which have this double fertilization characteristic, where a diploid zygote and a triploid endosperm form. Gymnosperms, pines, tracheophytes, ferns, and non-tracheophytes, mosses, lack this double fertilization feature.